Hello, this is Frank, and you're watching Frank's Home Remodeling Journey. In order to make wells for my step lights, I had to incorporate little plywood boxes into the concrete forms. I left them in until the concrete cured, but little did I know how difficult these little bad boys would be to extricate from their encasements. That's because they absorb water from the concrete and swell, making our removal a royal pain, as you'll see. I tried to pull out the first one by inserting some screws into the edges of the plywood and by pulling on them. That didn't work at all. So, the next thing I tried was to glue in some blocks and then drill holes and screw in big lag bolts. These would act as jack screws and would, essentially, push out the form when the tip made contact with the concrete in back. That didn't work either, as the glue joint failed, or the forces were so great that I twisted off the head of the bolt. The problem is that the forms absorb water from the concrete and expand against the sides and ends, causing a great deal of friction when you try to pull out the forms. Perhaps using a different, smoother form material and/or a different release agent would help, but at some point it just becomes too high-tech for a measly concrete form. See, I make more work for myself. So, the next step was to destructively remove the form by cutting it into little bits and then fiddling endlessly with a hammer, chisel, crowbar, and pliers to yank, lever, pull, and swear until the blasted thing came out. All the while being mindful of not damaging the wires, which I did well, and the edges of the concrete, which I didn't do so well. The first thing I had to do was cut a kerf through the plywood with a jigsaw. I was then able to tap in a crowbar and start to collapse the form into itself. This involved a lot of trial and error because frequently one part gets stuck, so you have to move to another, and another, and another. Eventually, the pieces start to come out and it gets progressively easier. But really, nothing is particularly easy about this. After the sides are out, I still have to deal with the back. I end up drilling a horizontal and vertical line of holes and then use a chisel to break them back apart. Eventually, this too yields to my persistence. The destructive removal technique is not an easy way to remove these forms, it just makes it possible. There are probably other techniques that pros use, but I'll bet this is one of them. There. All done.